And denim jackets are standard fare. It used to be, right? Denim blue jeans. Everybody's 95% of the population still is in blue jeans, but few people have a denim jacket. This is my second one. I lost my other one. It's a little light. I noticed a couple things. The old ones used to have two buttons, right, and a little that you could like, so you could tighten this. Now you can't. And I mean, it still has this here, which I guess is nice. You can squeeze that in. But I'm gonna paint it. I haven't decided what I'm gonna paint. I'm gonna go get my tea. I haven't decided what I'm gonna paint yet. Is this too loud? I haven't decided what I'm going to paint yet on it. Like it'll likely be a musical motif or a Black Power motif or a gamer motif. Getting back into painting, it's weird. All my art life kicks over in the spring. I'm very cyclical with all the shit that I create. I sort of die off and get depressed during the winter, and then I wake up during the spring. So I'm good for spring, summer, and fall. But winter, those 3 months, I need to either switch the whole thing around and become more meditative in the winter, which instead of whatever the heck I was doing, and bust my ass in the spring, summer, and fall, which is what I think I've been trying to do with this pod. It is, what time is it? It is 5 to 7. We're a little late. That's all right. We're gonna go get this tea. I hope someone shows up to chat with me in the chat. Say hi if you're here, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back. I got my tea. Mighty, ha ha ha. I've got my tea. Let's get rid of this Beats pill. Where am I gonna put it so I don't forget where? Why don't I put the speaker on top of the speaker? How about that? So yeah, did I hit this? Yeah, because I'm a cheater. Uh, I don't even know what to tell you, man. Don't even know what to tell you. I think there used to be more buttons too. I feel like there was one, two, three, 6 buttons. I thought there was 7 buttons. I thought it was a little more. I think they tried to save money on buttons. I'm pretty sure there was more buttons. All right, it doesn't matter. But here you go. Once you get a new denim jacket, you, I lost my other one. Like I said, these are one of the things that you're supposed to have for 50 years. Uh, they're not. They're the epitome of leisure wear, right? You can get it dirty. You can shove stuff in it. Anyway, why am I talking about denim jackets like you don't know what a denim jacket is? All right. We may not be on too long tonight. Where's my phone? Oh, it's still over here. Just because it's been a day, we've been running at it. March is upon us like a missile. He's doing a lot for the Ukrainians. He don't do anywhere near this amount for fucking black people. Joe Biden's Poland visit spotlights weapons, humanitarian aid for the Ukraine. The Ukraine had the giant race problem. I'm just saying. Hey, William, good to see you in the chat. Hey, Dr. G, good to see you in the chat too. Wow, my weekend is already off the charts. Um, Oh wow, really? You got your dad? See, you get it. Yeah, get yourself a denim jacket, make it yours. Put buttons on it, put a statue on it, paint something, protest, no war, uh, yes to life. What are the other big ones? Gryffindor, whatever you put on it. But yeah, don't wear it to church for God's sakes. But you can throw it on and run out to the store in your flip flops, or you could take it on a nice camping trip with your favorite hoodie. What is it? The little black dress, right? Ladies, every lady has a little black dress. This is similar to like one of those things that everybody has to have. Um, Happy for Die Day, y'all. I hope people have plans. I had a very weird incident in my car today. So this, I don't know what's with all the aggression. This young black guy, I call him young because he was younger than me. He must have been 30, right? He could have been 40. No, he could have been 40. He was probably like 25 to 35. So like I'm sitting in my singing these tunes in my head. I've got three modes in my car. I'm either dancing and singing to a song, right? Or I'm listening to like talk radio, NPR. Today they were talking about the Ukraine, and this one was talking about her. She was a sex doctor. She was talking about her early years and how she first masturbated and all this shit. And I was like, nope, right? Just kind of like weird stuff on the radio on NPR today. Um, but sometimes I'm just kind of like, man, what am I gonna do about my day? Do I have a show today? Is the schedule working out? Should I leave I'm just in my head doing it. So I look over, I catch it like I glance at this guy. He's a little like tucked over, uh, and I just pulled into my lane. So I'm waiting for him to go because I wanted to go ahead of him, but he's like all the young men on his phone with his hip hop music. That's fine. I love hip hop, right? I've got all my windows down. I've got my sunroof open. It was like nice today. Well, I thought it was nice today. The sun came out. So I glanced over, and I guess we glanced at a second, and then like that glance caused him to go like, I'm gonna do it to the camera, go like this when we caught eye contact. He goes, and then he turns back like this, just as I'm sort of like caught his eye and turned away. But then I noticed that kind of thing, and the cop in me took over, and I was like, some shit's about to go down. So as I'm turning away and he does that, I turn back to look back at him like, what just happened here? As I'm doing that, he turns away. And then he does the same thing. Did he shoot? That was just kind of like, I had my mask off too. And I think what he noticed was all the white on my chin. And he just kind of like calmed down, like, and I was like, what the fuck was that about? And I was thinking, it was in my head all day. It happened at about 11:30 noon. I got home today at like 4. I was thinking about it for like 4 hours. I was like, what the fuck? Why is everybody? What is that about? Then I went through it time over in my head, over in my head, over in my head. What happened? What transpired? And I was like, oh, maybe was I staring at him while I was thinking about something? Well, because I'll do that, right? Like, if I'm thinking of this happened to me once before. If I'm thinking, I don't know what I was thinking about. But I was in my head about something, and I have this thing for yellow sundresses. I've mentioned this on the show. Um, and this lady walked by in like a nice yellow dress. It wasn't a sundress. But in my head, thinking about whatever, I just kind of like looked, like just watched her because then I caught myself because she was like, "What's that guy fucking looking at me?" And I was just kind of like, oh. Like, you ever notice you're staring at somebody? You're like, yeah. It was just sort of one of those moments, and I was like, that must have been it, right? He looked over there like, what the fuck you looking at? And then he saw all this gray, and he was probably like, somebody's there. No, I'm not fucking with him. And I was like, that's got to be it, right? Because I wouldn't have done it, but he would have had to yell over from his driver's seat over the fuck you looking what over the what right? Yeah. Don't get in the car. Road rage is stupid, right? It's someone you're never gonna see again. Why go to jail for them? Don't get me wrong. People will road rage you, so then you got to protect yourself. But don't play these games. These games are stupid, and everybody's looking like, what you say? What? I once asked the guy what time it was. Excuse me, man. You have the time? What? I said at the time. Oh, my bad. Yeah, man. This was a long time ago. Back when this was before. This tell you how long ago this was. This was before cell phones. When did I get my first cell phone? My first cell phone was, I want to say it was a BlackBerry, and then I went to Nokia, and then I went to Apple. Those are the only three phones I've ever had. Uh, no, I was thinking about that today too. I should here it is right here. I was like, I should really just put this thing in the freaking car. I was using it around here to it's I bought it to draw. I do some art. Everybody as everybody knows, and I was like, well, one of the things I'll do since I can't talk all day, right? Apparently, I can talk all day. I was like, maybe I'll teach myself guitar. I always wanted to learn that. Maybe about what can I write. So, but I was just gonna put it over here and work on my story and my writing. But then here's the thing about writing on stream. It's not interesting if you help. It's not really you help me, but if you watch me write the screenplay, or right, and then I go, it's finished. Let's send it. Everybody saw it. What is the point of it? It's like I wanted to read on stream, but all the stuff you want to read is copyrighted. I could read Canterbury Tales. Anybody want to read that? Y'all saw. By the way, I read nightly. Y'all, me's and reading no good. I really do have to work on my. I read too fast and I talk too fast. I have a lot going on up in my hat space. Uh, tea people. So I was drinking too much coffee. So in the morning I have one, two, three cups, 4 cups of coffee, and that's it. That's my new. No more coffee. Oh, and by the way, this was the first year I didn't make a New Year's resolution. And I was like, maybe I'll quit drinking. I don't know. I like drinking. I mean, it was a, right? But this is the first year I didn't make one. I get it. You don't have to. You don't get to break it, but that's fucking cynical. That's like I don't want to get divorced, so I won't get married. You lose out on a lot, right? That's the logic of that. Yeah, it makes sense on paper, but it's stupid logic. But so my whole thing is with the coffee is just all right. We were talking about maybe I'm going to give that up because I was doing too much of it. Now what I do is I have it in the morning, no more. I have tea in the afternoon, right? Uh, I also was like, yeah, maybe I'll give up drinking, but I'm not going to make up because last year was a shit year for me. Other than picking up the guitar midway through the year, it was really not good for me. Um, so I was like, I don't need to, because I take these things hard. I take relationship failures badly. I look at it. People always say it's not you, it's me, but I look at it like, yeah, it was both of us. This thing got off to such a promising start. What's the after action report on this romance? What happened? Um, some people just kind of go, oh, this was over. Oh, look, 2 days later, 2 weeks later, moved on. Then you shouldn't have been in that relationship in the first place. Seriously. Or you stayed too long, right? You stayed long enough to be like, fuck this person. Uh, why is it now all of a sudden it's because I turned the heat on? All right. I was going on about. What was I going on about? I was going on about it'll come back to me. Yeah, speed reading. Was I going on about speed reading? I was going on about my poor reading ability, right, which is horrendous. Um, and I got to work on it. I was going on about not having. Well, this long thing was about not having taken up a thing to give up for the new year, right? Um, but I sort of on a lark quit drinking in December, mid December, and I'm still not drinking. So now I'm like, well, I could sort of salvage this whole streak of always, you know, picking up a thing. Even if I fail back then, I didn't do it this year because failure is hard. I'm not as young as I used to be, and lost romance, lost dog, lost city. These things kind of weigh on you as a man. You're like, how many wins to losses am I? You're like, oh my god, Am I the loser? Remember, like that clip with the Nazis? It's a British comedy show. It's two Nazis talking. They're talking about what's going on, and the payoff for the bit is one Nazi looks at the other guy in full Nazi regalia, and he goes, I think it's Adolf or Hein or whatever it was. He goes, "Are we the baddies?" And the other guy goes, "What? No, what? Nah." He goes, "Are we the?" So it's like it's that moment of realization when you're like, "Have I?" And mind you, I was never going to work in an office. I knew that. But even then, with my lackadaisical, laid back, cool boy style, should I have done more? Should I have written a couple of things by now? I write, right? Should I have run a marathon by now? I used to run regularly. My fucking alarm clock still goes off to remind me of my failure and my shame. I should just, you know what? And that's why I haven't stopped cut that off, right? Because I know it probably won't be tomorrow, but one day soon, I'm gonna be running again. Is it hope? I'm too old for hope. I mean, am I dreaming? Am I just stupid? I could be all three. All right. I don't really have a lot of news for you guys today. It's 7:10. We have been. I have been watching this footage of the Ukraine, man. I think March. Yeah, I think somewhere around March. This thing's about to end. I'm telling you, man. I still got that feeling of death and destruction and doom. Uh, Somewhere around March, the Russian army is either gonna redouble their effort to ruin the lives of Ukrainians, or they're gonna come to a way to fucking save face and get the fuck out of there. One of the two. Uh, they took a giant hit. They took a giant hit, and now people are like, you don't have an economy to fund a war. You know, insurgencies are a thing, man. They last a long time. Remember, Fallujah, Iraq had cars and fucking radio and TV and colleges and shit. Afghanistan had almost none of that. And what did the Russians do in Afghanistan? Repaid the favor. They gave all the Taliban missiles and shit, just like we gave the Mujahideen, who would become the Taliban, rockets to deal with the Russians. And well, they were Russians, but deal with the Soviets then in the 80s. I remember watching that shit on TV. Right? Everybody was always a war correspondent. How many war correspondents got killed? A handful. Right? Frontline stupid. See, this is everybody is in love. Let's talk about journalism in America. Everybody's in love with this story of like traveling with troops and da da da, right? Because of World War II when it first happened. I mean, you can go back and look at some of that footage. The dude, everybody's got a gun, but you have a camera. You can look up and see like a lot of those people got killed, not like camera people, right? And here's another thing that's interesting. You can go and look up battles now because they used to like they took all this footage, and then they would release some to the public for like uh, public support and morale, and you're like, look at us, we're beating the Japs, and we're beating the Krauts, and we're da 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 da, right? All that kind of American swaggy bullshit of the 30s and 40s, right? The Hun or whatever. I think the Hun was World War One. But anyway, uh, so see, man, these are my rabbit holes. Anyway, they're there, but they're there. Uh, they don't have an economy, and they're being set upon essentially by an insurgency that had of a society that has a higher standard of education and living and just shit in their society to throw at you. And then on top of that, everybody gave them weapons and money and shit, right? While going, and they have weapons. First of all, the West does nothing but make weapons, right, and sell them to Africa, and the Middle East. So there's always weapons on hand. Um, but then they cut you out of the the look at if you look at every nation as a a chair at a table, right? They cut you out the table. You can't even enter the room to sit at the table to eat or count the money or communicate with them, right? You're completely iced out. And while you're locked out, I mean, you have a house. They had a mansion, but now you have a house. It's much more than the people who just threw you out. The like, he wasn't in NATO, but like the European kind of G20. You were one of the 20 governments, right? Throughout the G20. So now it's you and the small state, which let's say that state is like a hut, right? They're sort of homeless. They're like a hut. They can't fuck with you. You can kick their ass. But the world has aligned themselves with these people and given them a fighting chance by doing that. So now the Ukrainians don't have a house, right? And they had a hut because they're a smaller thing. But now what they have is like one of those military tents that you set up in like out in the open, right? They got a gas furnace. It might as well be a fucking house, right? So how formidable will they be? We will see next month, right? When the Russians go, all right, 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 right. We looked at this whole shit for the last month. This is what we fucked up. This is what we should have done. Let's get back in there, right? I think they expected to do what Saddam Hussein did in Iraq when there was when they were trying to overthrow him, and he was going to use chemical weapons. And America said, "You do that, we're gonna do you in." Uh, and then America went in the first Gulf War because I mean the people were for getting rid of him, but they couldn't get rid of him. And America said, "All right, you can stay in charge." And people were like, "What?" Remember the first time they didn't go to Baghdad city? They were like, "What? You can stay in charge." And the first thing the Saddam Hussein people want to know from the Americans is, "Can we use helicopters? Is there a no-fly zone? Can we use helicopters?" And the Americans were like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." Instant air superiority, instant shooting people down in the streets from helicopters to put down the unrest and suppression, while your secret police ran around at night kidnapping people and icing out people at their jobs on the street and rocking car bombs, all this sinister shit. He'd have been gone 20 years ago if America fucking had done, I mean, you committed to the fucking war. You know what I'm saying? So this is what he had. I think Vladimir Putin thought, I'm just going to slide up in here. They're small. They have their army is 100 people. My army is 1,000 people. They have 10 tanks. I have 200 tanks. Their bank is $1 million. My bank is $100 million. There's no way they can fuck with me. And then the Americans came in, and NATO and the European Union, all these people like, what you did? What Russia? Stay out of my fly zone. No, you can't fly into America at all. Stay away from us. No, we don't want your oil. All of Europe was like, no, Europe is off limits to you. You can't come anywhere near through here, right? All the NATO countries were like, nope, go fuck yourself. Australia was like, oh, who deals with China was like, not in my backyard, you know. So now the only ally, they call it the China Russia. What is it? It sounds like it's a lot of people, but it's only two countries. It's China and Russia because they share a long ass border. Remember, like we share with Canada, that long ass border. They share a long ass border with Russia. Have you ever noticed how Vladimir Putin looks a little Asian? A lot of Russians look a little Asian. So yeah, it's like how I told this. Who did I tell this to? I told this to a dude who he was from top of Africa. Um, Yemen's on the bottom. Top of Africa. Uh, Casablanca's up there. Top of Africa. Libya, Liberia? No. What's the country across from Rome? Not Cairo. Anyway, blah, blah. Um, that I told him that Africa, a lot of people say all black, right? And what happened was some people stayed in Africa, but stayed at the top of Africa. And since you can see Italy, Europe, from the top of Africa, people always knew there were other people there. They were the first groups of who knew people were different, right? Even as everybody came out of Africa. Um, and it's 1,000 years of. So that's why they look that way. Hair's curlier, right? darker Mediterranean, right? The Italians don't really need suntan lotion. They don't. They're white, but they don't burn. Come on now, people. Get your head in the game. Don't you know anything about where people are from and how people got there? But this is why, from what I understand, my Italian friends told me they would fuck with the Sicilians because they would say the Sicilians were part black because a lot of Sicilians had curly hair, dark curly hair. So it's always this European game of you're not enough. We're the this and you suck, right? So you make fun of the redheads, all of Ireland. Like at one point, how beautiful must that have been, right? Um, but you go out into the world and to protect oneself. A lot of the way you do that is you gather allies to hate somebody else. That way, if someone else is being hated, it's less likely to be you. But that can turn on a dime too, right? One minute everybody loves you, Harvey Weinstein. The next minute you're a pariah. One minute everybody loves you, Kevin Spacey. The next minute your whole career is shot. Now you just gotta live in one of your six houses and get $300 million with who? Your friends? Yeah. Anyway, um, Tank Commander didn't make it. The guy who they ran over his legs? That's a problem. Oh, Jesus, Christmas. Oh my God. That story. Okay, for a recap. Oh, we're supposed to be moving to Twitch officially. Where is it? Where's my I had it written down. I haven't done anything I'm supposed to do. I'm trying not to miss the start of the second quarter. I'm trying to run my business, right? My streaming life like a business, right? I'm gonna do it. I want to have fun. I gotta tell you, man, getting this off the ground by yourself, it's not easy. I'm not that motivated. That's not true. I I get motivated, but it takes me a while to run. It's like when I run. When I run, I'm tired for like the first fucking 4 miles, right? And I'm only generally running 5 miles. So then I slid it back to 3 miles so I could run 3 miles a day. And I was exhausted all the time from running the 3 miles. I never fell in. And I would always have a long run, try and have a long run on the weekends. I wish I could get up to like 13 miles. But like long runs for me are like 7 miles. And that would take me forever. I don't, I contemplated getting a running instructor and I was like, that's ridiculous, right? That's like birds getting flying instructors. The first thing you as a human are supposed to know how to do is walk and run. Walking and running is hopping to frogs, is flying to birds, is swimming to fish, right? What else are you supposed to do as a human being? Drive, right? So this is when I see people who can't even walk. I'm like, dude, you're a lame bird. Um, and I gotta tell you, we have look. You want to hear some sad shit right here? We have a lot of people on the planet, and that's a problem. But I'm not really concerned because in a crunch, the people who are here who likely are, shouldn't be won't be. Um, and nature has settled it, right? So there's first thing. Let's say there's a giant outage. I hate to say it. Let's do the. You want to do the sinister math on this? There's a giant outage. The first group of people who go are everybody who stays home or are in a hospital connected to something with electricity that keeps them here, right? The second group of people will be the older people because if it gets too cold, uh, they're at risk. If it gets too hot, they're at risk. And really young babies, right? Babies don't become stable, I think, until they're about, I want to say 5 or 6. Because a bad flu can knock a baby out. And when I say baby, I'm thinking all children under like 5. Like the really young, the really old, right? So I'm thinking people over 75 and people under 4. Then you get the infirmed who aren't connected to shit. Maybe somebody needs to take diabetic medication, right? So all these groups of people begin to it begins to tick up. Um, a lot of heartbreak people, a lot. But it's nature, right? The next group of people is likely people who are healthy but have an anomaly. Like this thing came around and it killed super healthy people. That Broadway singer, I was like, he was didn't smoke, didn't drink, Healthy, super healthy lungs, sang on Broadway, la 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 la, Mimi. He got this thing, had to put him in a coma to save him. Had to amputate both his legs and take out a lung, and then he died anyway. And I was like, that is a full collapse under whatever this thing is, right? And other people have smoked and drank and did a whole bunch of drugs and and they got it and they got it twice and they're fine. You're like, what? So it's that kind of anomaly, right? So you don't know, right, about it. Just like not everybody who's never had a bad accident makes it. Some people just have aneurysm, right? Some people just, for inexplicable reason, right? So there's going to be all this weird shifting, and then there's going to be people who just get themselves killed because the times are changed. I was listening to this thing. I was listening to NPR today, and they were talking about um, what was the name? What was the name of the show? It was a really good topic. So they were essentially talking about the dinosaurs and what they saw on the day their lives changed, right? So there were two stories about this. One is the meteor hit, killed off all the dinosaurs in like a day. I was listening to this. Apparently, the meteor hit killed off the dinosaurs in like 100 years, right? That it's that kind of thing. It's it was so good. It was so informative. Um, check the chat. The Jack Kevorkian hour. Yeah, good. Yeah, Jack. You know what? Jack was like, people have a right to die with dignity. I'm just gonna keep killing people. Well, all right, Jack. 7 years in jail. And they were like, you want to be smug? Won't even give you fucking probation. You're a doctor. He was an old guy who did 7 years in jail. Did he learn his lesson? He had his opinion about shit still, but he didn't do it anymore. Yeah. Her name is Radonda, Radonda. Radonda. That is the blackest name ever. Nurse Radonda Voigt, convicted of 2 felonies for fatal medical error. Errors happen. She looks like the girl from Saturday Night Live. The jury found Voigt, a former nurse, guilty of criminally negligent homicide and gross negligence of an impaired adult in the death of a patient to whom she accidentally gave the wrong medication. This is my thing. I had this conversation with my ex. She was like, no, no. There are no accidents. Somebody needs to be punished. I was like, there are accidents. Not everybody needs to go to jail. What are you writing and then deleting? Not everybody needs to go to jail. No. And this is one of those things. I tried to give her examples of just fucked up luck and somebody dies, right? She was like, nope, no, no, somebody's responsible. So under my logic is this was an accident and I mean, but she was like, no, she is responsible. She injected yeah, but not on. She didn't mean to. It doesn't matter. No, but it's an accident. This is why pencils have erasers. It's so fucked up. All right, I'm not even gonna read that because that's crazy. NPR. Where is the podcast? What is the name of the show that I was watching? Is it Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me? Consider this. I used to love NPR. I don't know any of these shows. All of a sudden, NPR has a million fucking podcasts. What just happened? Podcast is the thing, apparently. Oh, Jesus, Christmas. All right. Corporate podcast. News, politics, business, society, and culture, entertainment, science, and tech. Let's go science and tech. Shortwave, no. Tiny desk, no, 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 no. This is music. All right. It wasn't Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Anyway, I don't know what to tell you. It was a really good, this is the news. It was a really, maybe it's culture? It's a really good pod. New books, Muslim women are portraying, remember Albright, yeah, okay. George Floyd, remember New Calamari, yeah. Lost City. I think I might run across it. People of color helped Hollywood do another look, man. Look, here's your problem. The problem isn't that we're idiots so we can't do shit. The problem is everything is stolen from us. We're set upon. That is what all this is about. It's not that we're stupid and we need a hand. It's not like we need anything from anybody. We make all the shit people like, and it's all stolen constantly from us. Mind you, the country that I'm sitting in now is good allies with fucking Israel, which is an apartheid state, all right? And it was good allies with South uh, South Africa, apartheid state, right? The only reason it had issues with England, right? And England is a class system. The only issue we had issues with England was two wars, and they burned the capital down. And we didn't become tight. Well, let's say tight with England until World War I. I want to say. So yeah, I mean, and then you talk about it, and you don't actually do anything about it. It just makes me crazy. This Katanji Brown thing. I'm like, oh look, we're less racist. Black lady on Supreme Court. I'm like, how does that affect me? Right? I'm asking for you to sign a law that affects everybody, not one person, so you could put it on TV and get all this free publicity about her. Oh, can we get somebody who isn't always crying, please? How about that? Do I have to put this up? I think I have to put this up because I'm over here ranting. Y'all can't see what I'm ranting at. Oh, good lord. So I think we're gonna try and make the move um, with the big kids. I think we've been doing this year. I was gonna wait a year, but that would be halfway through the year, and I wanted to sort of, you know what? If I miss the second quarter, which is March 1st, when is it? This is a not March 1st, um, April 1st. But I have a wedding to go to. Oh, man, I should just kick this whole thing back as far back as I could possibly kick it. Uh, it's not. I can't. I don't even know where it is. Anyway, it's a good story. It's a story. Not books, not movies, not television, pop culture. It's not. Wait, wait, don't tell me. Anyway, they were talking about. I'm trying to. It wasn't. He could have said 9,000 years, but he said it was a slow demise because it killed off the trees and. But mm, anyway, all right. We're not even gonna look into it. I would really love to know what it was. Pop culture, media, digital life. Chris Cuomo seeks 125 million after being fired from CNN. Oh my God, people are ridiculous. Ugh. The whole environment of this is just art and design, like it. Performing art. I mean, they talk about shit. I guess they talk about pop culture. Would that be it? I talk about pop culture. Oscar guidelines. Where are they now? Wherefore art thou inward? March 23rd, 2022 is probably the most radioactive word in the English language. At the same time, the N word is kind of everywhere. Yeah. Books, movies, music, comedy, not to mention the mouths of people who use it frequently, whether as a slur or as a term of endearment. It's not a fucking term of endearment. Ah. All right. So on this episode, we're talking about what makes the word unique and how the rules. I may have to listen to this, but I can't listen to it with y'all. Wherefore art thou inward? Ugh. Oh wow. Um, I'm gonna find this. It's been a while since I rooted around uh digital life. It's been a while since I rooted around NPR's website. Okay, we should. Oh, and this is this is sad. The guy who invented the GIF, right, died. Trans. If he got half a penny, if he for if for every 1,000 people who sent a gift, he got a penny per thousand, he'd be the richest guy on the planet. And this is what I don't get. All these people who turn the tide of cultures never own the shit. This everyone is constantly stealing and staying in power. I just don't think that's going to be viable much longer. All right, well, I can't find this thing. All right, what are we doing here? We're gonna run through the news. It's 7:30. We might send you home early, like a snow day. Uh, I gotta tell you, man. Costs of going unvaccinated are mounting in America for the worker and the company. It's a fucking pandemic, and we don't talk about COVID here, but the numbers are climbing again because of the new variant, and everybody opened everything up. Look, this is here's another thing that Russia's doing this shit, and China wants to keep because China wants to invade Taiwan, but it just saw what the world did. Like, well, no one. Well, all we do is make shit for people. What if no one took the shit that we what? So it froze them out. But also, this disease, I know you're not supposed to say it, originated someplace I'm not supposed to say. So that also might be why they're like, don't look over here. Don't say anything. Uh, because Russia's like, oh, you're gonna say anything? Because the first thing the world is gonna say is China, you and your fucking bat hamburgers are why the world is where we are now. And then all of a sudden, World War III. So let's just fucking tamp this down. Let's deal with the Russia issue. Let's put everybody back to their original borders. Because trust me, the only way you can expand your borders now is an actual war declaration, not invasions. America could totally fucking invade Mexico, right? Could fucking run down the peninsula into um, Brazil and the whole right up through Canada, fighting all the way, full of guns. Nobody's for that shit. That shit was something you should have did 100 years ago. Not even the Americans are like the Americans will be like, why are we fucking even? You know what I'm saying? Just did you see the video of that Russian woman get carted off? Here's the thing, people. You tell the world, be like America, which is nice. Like I said yesterday, America on paper, mwah. But so once somebody comes in and want to really fix this, he's not gonna have to fight anybody to get laws passed. There are laws on the books that says you have to write and he can't be bribed and you have to pay taxes. What the fuck? Why aren't the people the corporate paying taxes? Why aren't the why the politicians getting insider trading information? You don't need to write a law about that. It's fucking against. Wait, so under this guise, I as a senator can kill somebody and go, oh, I didn't know I as a senator couldn't kill somebody. I propose we write a law saying that senators and congressmen and their families and friends cannot indulge in murder, homicide, or paying for or committing it themselves. Yeah, we're gonna pass. No, no one does that. But now all of a sudden you have to write a new law saying you can't do something that no American. Are you an American or are you somehow above? You know what I'm saying? The only person I believe is above this is the president. because all the information is open to him. And if he does anything, no one's gonna arrest him and put him on trial. It's a giant thing, right? So yeah, if I found out he was insider trading on who was doing what and making money off it, I kind of wouldn't care. Because if he goes, I'm going to invade this, the market goes up and down. If he goes, I'm not going to do dick about anything, the market goes up and down. Oh, he said he's not going to do anything about it. We're going to buy all of. Oh, he said he's not going to let it. Then we're going to get rid of. You know what I'm saying? He has to keep his mouth shut. And then people will look and go, what kind of socks is he wearing? I hear that if he wears these socks on this days, the market's going to do that. So no matter what he does, the market's going to shift on what he does. Why wouldn't he play it? He could walk out and go, man, I think I'm going to buy um, Altoid stock. And Altoid stock tomorrow on him saying he might buy it will rise. It won't do that for your senator or your congressman, Nancy Pelosi, right? This country is upside down and ass backwards. It really is. It doesn't make any sense the way it's run. What is going on with my speaker here? My mic volume keeps going up and down, and it's weird. Anyway, so yeah, I really yeah. So anyway, what about the cesspool girl, Lauren Pazienza, who pushed singing coach down? Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. So here's the thing. Oh wait, did something new happen to her? Because here's the thing. That right there is a Karen moment, right? She's just raging. She's mad at her boyfriend. She's yelling at the people on the street. She gets into it with this old lady, white lady, the only person she could probably hit and get away with it, right? In the 30s, 40s, and 50s, you could do this and smack a black lady or hit a black guy and nothing would happen, right? Somewhere around the 60s, you would do that, you get smacked back just once. Somewhere around the 70s, you get your ass beat. Then it completely stopped, right? Um, Now people hit their boyfriends, hit not really their girlfriends, but people who hit and get away with it. Me, like women hit men, um, that kind of goofy nonsense that you're gonna get away with it. I think some people hit their dads, right? The men in your life. Uh, you might bully like your staff, your workers, right? As a boss, but I don't think you're gonna hit them. You would have to pull this shit on a random stranger that you can beat up and leave on, right? And that is who? Smallest children, right? Or the elderly, the weakest in our society. That's what it seems like to me she did. So she was raging like an idiot and picked a fight with someone who could not defend himself. There's a lot of that. And I heard after she did it, she stayed in a neighbor for an hour. Got this video of her getting into a fight with her boyfriend, and then they just followed her home. I tell you, you live in a world of cameras. She's gonna get convicted. She's like that guy who bought the Wu Tang record that everybody hated. Ugh, excuse me. Bought the Wu Tang record that everybody hated. What's that guy? He upped the price of insulin. That guy. So when he went to jail, people were just waiting for the trial to be over so they could be like guilty. The whole idea of this is just bad. Why you mad, girl? Accused New York City shover Lauren Pazienza may have opened her parents up to charges. Oh my God, what happened? Did she say something stupid? I bet she did. The fiery redhead accused of shoving an 87-year-old. Look at her. Just keep your mouth shut. The fiery redhead accused of. Oh, look at New York City streets. Yeah, and it's notable. It's got the attention of the media and the people around now. They're looking at it. Even as I complain about the justice system, Justice Department. Um, Everybody's looking at this. This is an easy one for them, right? A random attack. All right, what is we doing here? All right. Da, 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 da. The fiery redhead accused of shoving an 87-year-old woman to her death may have opened her parents up to charges if she can. Wait, she how old is she? 26. Oh boy. If the cops can prove they knowingly hid and helped their daughter after the random attack, a legal expert. Well, yeah, everybody knows that. I thought you knew that they did something. She didn't escape. They picked her up at her house. It's not like that guy who they're not looking like. What's the guy who killed the girl in the van? You can look at his parents and arrest them, but they decided not to. This is what I'm talking about. If I disappeared, they'd be crawling through my parents' emails. My parents are old. They don't write. They don't send emails. They send everything by fucking carrier pigeon and Morse code. For goodness sake. Uh, so, just got them a phone like 5 years ago, and it don't do anything but take phone calls. They never take a picture with it. They don't send it. It's a thing, man. I love them. Uh, so Lauren Pazienza, 26, could have also boosted the case against her by deleting social media, stashing her phone, and bolting to her parents' Long Island home after the fatal assault on Barbara Mayer Gustern earlier this month. All right, this is why I think the Post is a shitty newspaper. Um, who wrote this? I used to know Emily Crane. Come on, Emily, what are you doing over there? Uh, all right, you deleting social media posts or going private is not destroying evidence. The post isn't gone. All images that you put up on are always saved forever. So all that shit you're deleting, William, I may not see it, but it's there forever if somebody wants to get a warrant or some nonsense like that, right? So that's not that's bullshit. Stashing her phone, you'd have to you'd have to have committed a crime with the phone, right? So the Ahmaud Arbery guys recorded the whole thing, right? And then sent to his lawyer. His lawyer was like, "Oh, this looks bad. I'm not gonna keep it. I'm not gonna be because this right." So then he disseminated it, which put those guys in jail forever. Uh, if they were like, "Oh yeah, we recorded it," and that guy who recorded it was smart enough to go, "Oh, I shouldn't have recorded this," and he deletes it, that's destroying evidence, right? Even as it's not gone. I mean, the cops have to jump through an extra hoop or two instead of just taking your phone at the precinct and holding it up to your face and rooting through your life, right? Now they got to go and get a warrant from so and so to Google or to whoever the search engine or whoever the carrier is to get it from whatever cell tower you were near when you bounced it out. I tell people all the time, people have their phone, they'll leave it on the table, they'll wander. Your whole life is in this. Every email, every text messages, all your fucking phones, your searches, your family members. People are so goofy with like, yeah. I mean, people are cavalier with it. Don't lose it. Uh, the more technology savvy the nation becomes, the more we all have to be tech savvy. And I'm on the old side of this thing, so I'm gonna have to learn to be tech savvy when it comes natural for you kids. Oh my goodness! All right, so unless they knew, unless unless the evidence is on her phone and she knew that, I don't see how that's a charge. And going to your parents' house isn't. I mean, it's that's not a charge either. Look, I can go to my parents' house. However, if the cops are looking for me and I go to my parents' house, just go find me at my parents' house. Were you going to charge me with not being at my house? No. Now, if you're looking for me and I know you're looking for me and I avoid my house and go to the that I mean, what charge is that? That's every criminal. Evading arrest, that's everybody. Right? So that's the only charge I think you can have there. But I think she would have to know people are looking for her. Look at the boyfriend walking back there with that look on his face. Is this the boyfriend? Is that the boyfriend or is this the boyfriend? I thought this was the boyfriend. All right. Let's get it. I could have boosted the case against her after fleeing to her parents' Long Island home. Ugh. For Ponzi and the parents face charges, prosecutors would need to show they provided I just said that, criminal assistance to her at the alleged crime and prove they were helping her, said Karen Charrington, a former assistant district attorney for the Bronx County. This paper is a fucking rag. So you see what they did, right? They wrote a story on a supposition. Supposition? It's not a proposition. I'm not offering you this to write. No, it's a supposition. It's an idea I'm offering you. So the idea offered here is you could go to jail, and here's how. If you robbed a bank, right? If you da 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 da, if you're like, yeah, ifs. I didn't. None of that shit is going on in the real world. Someone had a story due, so they wrote it on her about how somebody could possibly face charges if they did all this shit that they're not telling you anybody did. I would hope fucking not. Um, I think it's look, the guy in the Bronx who shoved that guy, he got 2 years. Parents were upset he got 2 years. There was a guy who shoved the cop down the steps and the cop died. That guy got 15 years. The guy was a cop. He got 15 years. Um, I said this is outrageous. She'll likely get 10. She'll serve 7. She'll plead to likely 5 and serve 3. If she goes to trial, she'll likely get 5 to 7. If she cops out, she'll likely get 5 and do 2 and do 3. But she's not. She doesn't have a history of. I mean, I'm like, oh, here I am talking shit. I don't know her history. She could be a gang member, Crip blood. Like you're like, look, that remember that she's the most dangerous redheaded blood in the hood, son. You're like, but she, well, her. You never know people's history. So, but something tells me she's just. I hate to say it like this, but run of the mill American citizen of the 26-year-old redheaded Caucasian lady variety. I don't see a lot of those guys running amok in the world, right? College graduate, lives in Long Island. I don't see her getting any more than that. Even as people are like, "Oh, you fucking suck," she might get a year or two more. She might or maybe not. She might just get a harder lecturing from the judge because there's cameras in there wanting to wrap this up. Ooh, let's see. Oh, her sentencing is today. Let's see what the judge says. Oh, young woman. Oh, and a life lost, and we are all aggrieved and bereft. Oh, whoa, whoa. Judges grandstanding bullshit. And then you got to sit there and listen to it. And then he drops your sentence on you, which is in the sentencing guidelines of likely your city or your county or your state or whatever. And all that stuff is going to come in. I mean, how bad is her history? Yeah, because she lives on fucking Long Island. I'm sure her parents have money that they've been hoarding forever. Is that the way it works? I heard someone screaming, no, 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 no. I was like, is it a woman? Is it a kid? It's stopped now. I didn't hear a gunshot, so I'm gonna let it roll. Uh, this is old me. I still do this. I still look. I'm still a looky loo like my great Grammy. God rest her. But in my old days, I'd have went outside and no, no. And I think I think it's the idea of chivalry is dead is a real thing, right? So yeah, all right. It is. Good lord. We've been streaming for an hour, right? Have we been streaming for an hour? Yeah, we started a little late. We've been streaming for an hour. Um, we're gonna do our 15 minutes. We should round the show up to like an even hour. An hour 15 minutes is sort of weird, isn't it? But it's our weirdness. Other people are doing 3 hours a day, which I could easily do but I would have to set up a whole different monetary system of working. Um, and I like kind of like doing it as I do it. I'm looking at this guy in the corner make this dish. I'm like, what is that? Is it poached? I think it's poached egg with butter, cilantro. What is that? Chef turns McDonald's into a gourmet meal in a viral TikTok. So, okay, see, I'm not on TikTok. All you kids who are on TikTok, I can tell you what is it? What is it? Gather around, children, and I will tell you a story of Dave from MySpace. Was it Dave? It was Dave, right? The Dave from MySpace. Oh my God, is MySpace still a thing? Everybody was on MySpace, and then they weren't. MySpace is a music space now. June 2011 to now. No, it's not John. It's Tim. 150 employees. MySpace is still a thing. What killed MySpace? It wasn't Facebook. What did kill MySpace? This is a YouTube video. Early MySpace was the peak of social media. Virtual good markets is good to boom. MySpace, Facebook, Digital Journal. How to be 13 and on MySpace again. Is that what happened? I think they couldn't stop it with all the pedophiles. Look, man, once you set up something, the fuck sticks and shit stains will show up. Excuse my language. And you have to protect the people showing up to your thing from those people. So if I have the Boy Scouts, right? You didn't protect those children. And these people were like, where are all the boys that I can rape? That either I need to go to be a Catholic preacher or I can just run over here and be a Boy Scout. Now I'm going to go to school for 10 years. You have to protect them. That's why strip clubs have bouncers, because every now and then some dude is an asshat, right? You got to protect people, uh, especially on social media. All right, so let's finish this story. Who's Dave? Yeah, I know it's not Dave. It's Tim. Tom. I just looked at it. What is it? I don't care. Uh, I wonder. My old MySpace account is probably still there. God, it's like a dead tree in like the forest of information that's assigned to me. Oh, it's just laying over me while all the bushes around that tree is the new shit. Now the next dead tree is Facebook because I don't go on Facebook anymore. Um, let's finish this story. For PNs or the parents to face charges, prosecutors but had to do all that shit that I said sounds like a distance. Do we even have to finish the story? This is a stupid story. Prosecutors say Piantos called the elderly victim a bitch and shoved her to the ground without provocation during the March 10 attack on a street in Chelsea. Chelsea. That's the kind of nonsense you expect to hear about in Brooklyn, right? Look, you have arrogant people. They do this shit. It's the arrogance of, don't you know who I am, right? And every now and then they do something dark. Well, not every now and then, but every now and then they get caught doing something dark. Without provocation, during the Martin attack on a street in Chelsea, the beloved, how do you know she was beloved? The beloved former Broadway voice coach who suffered a traumatic brain injury died 5 days later. At some point, Pazienza fled to her parents' home and completely stopped using her cell phone. Prosecutors allege cops had put out widely circulated surveillance images of Pazienza before a tipster eventually recognized her. Yeah, I know that hair, and I know that she's got that sweater. That's that scarf that she always wears. The whole neighborhood knows you, and they'll expose you. Yes, we're gonna look that up. When detectives went to her home in Port Jefferson on Monday, her father, Daniel Pansy, refused to let them in and claimed she wasn't there. His house, he doesn't have to let you in. Okay. And you can lie to the cops. You just can't lie to the feds. Remember that. You can lie to the state and locals. You can't lie to the federals. It's a federal offense to lie to. So just don't fucking talk to the cops. Period. I don't know if this is. Charity said any potential charge against Pazienza's parent could be difficult to prove. All right, I'm not even gonna fucking finish this thing. I sort of wanna. How many? Oh, this the boyfriend that she was yelling at? Look at her. Oh, she's going to jail. She's adorable. Oh, she's going to jail. Bye. All right, let's look up the tank commander. Have you ever seen somebody run over by a tank? I'm sure you can Google it and find images of it. But man, it's stuck in my head. Another one that's stuck in my head is a giant marble block that they were cutting out of a quarry fell on this guy. And it's the ground, it's it's him. So like 90% of his body is under it and his head, and you can see him sort of like it almost missed him. Almost. Yeah. Haunts me. Russian commander run by tank deliberately killed by own troops. I'm not reading this. All right. You can go away. All right. Da, 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 da. This was yesterday. Oh, wow. Daily Mail, which is a British newspaper, revealed, dun, 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 very bold, revealed Russian commander has died after being run over with a tank by his own munitions troops, as Western officials said Ukraine had disabled 20 battalions. Wow. But warned Putin is assembling 10 more as he goes all in behind botched invasion. Yeah, yeah, I'm telling you, don't take this. It's 30 days, bitch. Don't take a victory lap yet. This shit is not over. Oh my God, people are ridiculous. People don't know, and the people are like, I'm seeing all this stuff on Ukraine, watching these videos. Slava Ukraine, what does that even mean? And I'm like, do you even know who you're rooting for? Slava Ukraine means glory to Ukraine. Okay, glory. Um, 20 battalions. How many are in a battalion? How many men in an army battalion? 4 to 1,200. 400 to 1,200. So 20 battalions. The low end of that is, do the math, Sean, 4,000, right? The high end of that is 12,000. Okay, 20 battalions. But warned Putin is summoning 10 more. Russian brigade commander in Ukraine, Colonel Yuri Med. Hold on. Good lord. Uh, what's the weather outside?
It's currently cloudy and 61 degrees.
I thought it was a little chilly. Uh, up to 1,000. Russian brigade commander in the Ukraine, Colonel Yuri Medvedev, said to have been killed by his own troops. Western officials said the mutiny. There's a word for it. If there's a word for it, it's happened before. That's why there's a fucking word for it. Mutiny. Western officials said the mutant, Western officials, mind you, said the mutiny was down to the scale of losses suffered by his brigade in the Ukraine. 20 out of Putin's 120 battalions stationed in and around the country said to have been rendered inoperable. He still has 100 brigades there. All right. Which should be 120,000, 100,000 people. Remember, he was amassing, they said 100,000 troops. That's before he went over, right before he went in. Uh, a Russian, a Russian, what is going on with this? Yeah, well, let's do it that way. A Russian brigade commander in the Ukraine has died after being run down with a tank by his own munitions troops. Western officials believe Colonel Yuri Medvedev was brutally taken out after his 37 motor rifle brigade, and their tanks. So maybe their motor is the tanks. So, but they're a rifle brigade. It's not okay. That makes sense. It's artillery okay, fine. Suffered huge losses. A lieutenant general, a what's going on here? A lieutenant general commanding the 49th Combined Arms Army, also had died in the fighting. The seventh to perish in the war. They lost 7 generals. That, even if they fucking lose, I mean that is some shit, right? The last time I remember 7 generals getting taken out, it was by the Americans, and it was the Iraq generals, right? They were all on these cars. They were wiping them out. They were trying to mount some sort of defense of themselves in the country, and all they got was taken out. Right? Their pilots weren't as good. Their pilots weren't as good. Their ordnance weren't as didn't reach as far. I mean, yeah, people were just leaving the battlefield. I think that their guys weren't as trained as the American guys were. All right. Western officials believe Colonel Yuri Medvedev was brutally taken out by 49th blah, 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 blah. Lieutenant General commanding the 49th Combined Arms Army also died in the fighting. The seventh to perish in the war. News of Colonel Medvedev's fate, backed by recent footage of the extraordinary episode, came amid claims that 20 of the 120 battalions massed by Vladimir Putin have been rendered inoperable by Ukraine's staunch resistance. However, Putin is said to be assembling at least 10 more to shore up his army. Wow, if he puts 10 more brigades in there and they manage to wipe them out too, I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you. It's just it's so super rarely seen as to be ridiculous. All right. However, Putin said to be sending at least 10 more to shore up his army, with officials warning that show with officials warning that okay, wait a minute. With officials warning that shows he is going all in. It's a weird sentence. Release him or show up his army with officials warning that it's all going all in behind his quote unquote botched invasion and could be preparing to launch a chemical attack to turn the tide. They're always saying someone's going to launch a chemical attack, and even when they do, no one does anything. A Western official said Russia's failure to organize. So, of course, chemical attacks were in Iraq by Saddam Hussein. Chemical attacks were in Syria. Um, yeah, organized so far has been remarkable. Pouring scorn or claims today. A Western official said Russia's failure to organize so far has been remarkable. Their failure to organize has been remarkable. Okay. Pouring scorn on claims today that it had achieved the main military objective. They said today. Wait, what's today's date? They said today that they accomplished the military objective. March 25th, 2020, 16:30 Eastern. So that's 4:30. What are the claims that they said they? Oh my God! All right. Pouring scorn on the claims today that it had achieved the main military objective. What was that? Because I thought the main military objective was to take Kiev, right? Which would be like taking DC. Um, they said that losses have been really high in some areas. At the outset, 115 to 120 battle, I'm sorry, 120 battalion tactical groups were in the Russian force, but 20 battalions thought to be combat were now not thought to be combat effective. I feel like I'm drinking. She's wordy and it's weird and clumsy. They said the losses have been really high in some areas, period. At the onset, 150 to 120 battalion tactical groups were in the Russian forces, comma, but 20 battalions were now not thought to be combat effective and have been withdrawn. Were now not thought to be. Why don't you go? But 20 battalions were now not thought to be combat effective and have been withdrawn. Why don't you just say that they've been withdrawn? They've been ineffective in another. See, that sentence is weird. It's not me. Either, let's continue, either because repairs were needed to vehicles or because of massive losses. That's that weird sentence. Either because repairs or massive losses. They're like to make this a more fair sentence, it would be either because of repairs or uh, lack of workers or tools or part, right? That makes sense. Repairs or lack of a part is why these same things. But massive losses means the front of this, if you're going to go with massive losses, then the front either has to be because of combat that have been withdrawn because of loss of personnel, meaning death, uh, loss of manpower, and loss of massive losses of weaponry. Because you're talking about, right? So you talk battle and you talk equipment versus talking equipment and a loss. Yeah, the very fucking weird. In some instances, three battalions have been merged together to redeploy. The official said of Colonel Medvedev, he was killed by his own troops. How many troops were in that fucking tank? How many people does it take to drive a tank? One guy. One guy drives a tank. So only one guy ran him over. The official said of Colonel Medvedev, he was killed by his own troops. We believe as a consequence of the scale of losses that have been taken by his brigade. They added, that gives an insight into some of the morale challenges the Russian forces are having. The officials added that the colonels appeared to have been run down using a tank. We believe he was killed by his own troops deliberately, they said. The comment came after footage allegedly showed Colonel Medvedev being stretched into a hospital, being stretchered, into a hospital after suffering leg injuries. I'm sorry, good lord. We believe he was killed by his own troop delivery, they said. The comment came after footage allegedly showed Colonel Medvedev being stretchered into a hospital after suffering severe injuries to his legs. Injuries. The episode had echoes of fragging during the Vietnam War when soldiers would take out hated officers by throwing grenades into their tents. America. Yeah. All right. Uh, and to the military's credit, they do a serious report on all this. I mean, they don't like that to happen, but they want to know why it happened to prevent it from happening, right? Versus covering everything up. So in their archives, they have the real story versus the blotted out ones. A photograph from a video allegedly showing Russian Colonel Yuri Medvedev being stretched into a what's wrong mean that word? Being stretched into a hospital after suffering severe injuries to his legs. A Ukrainian journalist has claimed that Medvedev was run over by a tank driven by his own soldier. He looks unhappy. Russian officials fear Vladimir Putin is generating new battalions and going all in. Let him go all in. Let him go all in. All right, let's look at this one more time. Ugh. So this is them in a truck. Look, he's got no feet. Right? Hold it. Hold it. Wait a minute. We're going to go right here. And they're taking him to a hospital in the Ukraine. Right? So, why can't I get this off of there? Oh, okay. Can't show it to you. But you can see that with the stretcher, they have the blankets tied down to the stretcher, but the blanket, there's no legs under the blanket. So it looks like he stops right about here. So there seems to be meat and stuff up to about right here. So he lost his knees a little higher than his knees, I would say. We'll find it and look at it someplace else. View photo gallery. Do we want to look at the photo gallery? Ooh, that's not good. Who's this? According to Roman typographer Roman Tsymbaliuk, who was said to have been the last Ukrainian journalist in Russia before fleeing the country in January. This is Medvedev. Okay, these are all his tanks. Oh boy, these are not good. These are not good. Hold it. What are they saying here? What is this? They're not saying what they're saying. So we go here. Russian Defense Ministry also updated its losses in Ukraine to 1,351 soldiers, adding that 3,825 soldiers have been wounded, a figure that are far lower than Western intelligence estimate that put Moscow's losses in the tens of thousands. So they're lying. 1,300 people died. See, you can't say 5. You got to say 1,300 because no one knows 1,300 people. I might have been in that battle and saw 8 guys die. And my friend who I talked to was in another battle, and he says 10 guys. So we can account for 18 guys, but that's all of us. So if you would say, oh, we only lost 4 guys, well, me and my friend can easily discount that, right? So you give a number that no 1 or 2 guys can say, right? Unless You lost all those in an incident, right? Then everybody at the command can go, we had 3,000 people, and by the time it was over, we only had 1,500. So we must have lost more than he's saying. It's the magic of numbers. Um, all right, let's close this. Ugh. Look at this guy walking. A man flees with his belongings after artillery bombardment by Russians. I mean, the idea of this. Yeah. Uh, do we want to finish reading this? Because I think it. Wow, look at this. I think it veers away from him. A Russian army commander apparently deliberately run over by the drivers. Here's one guy, the driver of one of his tanks. In a classic story, which can only be better if it had been Putin who had ended up under that tank tracks. I have more far right. Yeah, okay, these are the British dudes. All right. Do we want to finish reading? Let's finish reading. Let's finish up until they start talking about Moscow. Western officials said Putin appeared to be generating 10 more. If we believe 100, there's going to be an indication Putin. There's rising concern that increasing desperate Russia could use chemicals. Russian officials believe Russia could, try to organize a chemical false flag operation. A Ukraine journalist said in Facebook, Colonel Tank Battalion 1,500 troops had lost half its strength to either death or injury. So they lost 750 people. And one of the tank guys was so hot about it that he ran over the general. Wow. A soldier choosing a convenient moment during the battle ran over his brigade commander. A soldier choosing a convenient moment during the battle ran over his brigade commander, Colonel Yuri, with a tank, injuring both his legs. Simbalyuk wrote in the report to his followers. Choosing a convenient moment, he ran him over. So what, he was outside of the tank in front? For all you know, this was an accident. But the West is saying it's not. The Ukrainians are saying it's not. So you have to watch what comes out of these places, right? But one thing's for sure, he was run over by a tank, and he is now in the great red square in the sky, eating borscht with Lenin. All right. Ukrainian journalists, 1,500 troops had lost around half its strength to either death or injury. A soldier choosing a convenient moment about Medvedev, a soldier choosing a convenient moment during the battle ran over his brigade commander, Colonel Yuri Medvedev, with a tank during both his legs. Simbin wrote to his followers, Medvedev is in a hospital in Belarus and has already been awarded the Order of Courage. He said the colonel is now awaiting compensation. What is that? It's making a weird noise. There's no independent corroboration of the claim, but a video released by Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, a close ally of Vladimir Putin, allegedly shows Medvedev being transported by troops to Belarus. Okay, so he went to hospital in the neighboring nation for hospital treatment. One Chechen, how they drove him out because they couldn't fly him out. You got to fly him out for quick medical care, and they would have blown that shit clean out of the sky, right? So you have to drive him out. One Chechen fighter who are fighting under Russian National Guard and directly under Putin's control. He's directly under Putin, so he doesn't have to listen to anybody but Putin. Directly under Putin's control, told him, "Hold on, how are you? Are you okay? Talk to us." Mehdi replied, "I'm okay. Where are you from?" He was like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm running over. Who the fuck is this? Where are you from?" I'm from Chechnya. He was like, "Yeah, what the fuck did I do?" All right. So the colonel was then told to keep wearing his bulletproof jacket before being unloaded on a stretcher with blankets covering his legs. Tsimbe did not say what happened to the soldier driving the tank. Tsimbalyuk. Simbalyuk did not say what happened to the soldier driving the tank, but the reports follows several others suggesting low morale among Putin forces would have been making little progress in Ukraine. What kind of sentence is that? He didn't say what happened to the soldier driving the tank, but reports follows, which implying that he's going to talk about the soldier driving the tank, right? But reports follow several other suggestions. Low morale among Putin forces have been making little progress in Ukraine. What the fuck does what? Teddy Ted, how you doing, man? Um, good to see you. Good to see you. A senior NATO military. Hold on. A NATO estimated on Wednesday that 7,000 to 15,000 Russian soldiers have been killed in 4 weeks of war. Here's the thing: they've locked up a lot of stuff, and but not YouTube. So the Russian people can watch YouTube, right? And there isn't a Russian YouTube and an American YouTube, right? It's just YouTube. It's not like Netflix. There's a Russian Netflix. It's just YouTube. Everybody, the guy who I watch play guitar, they're from Belgium and uh, Paul David, I think is Belgian, not French. Um, Another guy, Sean, is in Florida, right? And another dude is in England that I follow. All on the same fucking YouTube. So that video I showed you of the helicopter getting smacked in the face with the missile, and then the giant conflagration. I keep using that word; it's my new favorite word of the month. Uh, the giant conflagration, right? And then smack into the ground. They can see that, and then they're telling them, "Oh no, 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 only 700." Even if they saw that video and said that's horrible, but only 700, they will now see other video on YouTube saying it's 15,000 people dead, right? Let's check the chat. Just strolling through. Good to see you. I'm glad you stopped by. I hope you have a good weekend. Stay as long as you like. Uh, Help yourself to all the accoutrements. Um, and just say peace out on your exit. Uh, there you go. Spotify pulled out of Russia. Wow, really? Wow. All those people who make music, Russian music, and put it on Spotify, who do pods, put it on Spotify, right? Here's the thing. We looked it up. The ruble is what? 1,500 to the dollar? That's fucking crazy. The last time I saw numbers like that, it was like Zimbabwe was crashing, and the inflation was like for a loaf of bread costs $30,000. Kind of like African kind of busted economy. Um, so they can watch this on YouTube. They can see how the war is going. I don't think you should shut down social medias, right? You just make the common man mad at you. You should shut down all the propagandas and propagandists. And I get why, because they had some TikTok guys doing pro-Russian or Ukraine like stuff, and so TikTok was like, "Yeah, we're not having that." Uh, yeah, I get it. You know what? It's based in fucking America, right? So if I want to rah the American army, that should be allowed. But if I want to boo your army, that should be allowed too. You invading the place and putting up yay invader stuff. I get why they take that down. Uh, I'm telling you, man, the age of colonialism and invading places is over. It really kind of is over, right? I mean, first of all, Russia is a giant fucking place, but it's all cold and nothing's. There's a lot of nothing to do in parts of it because it's cold and empty, and then it's like the opposite of Australia, which like there's nothing like another big giant place, but there you can't do a lot there because most of it is fucking desert and rock, right? You're not no like dust, like desert, so you can't grow anything there in most of your country. Um, Yeah. NATO estimates 7,000 to 1,500. By way of comparison, Moscow lost 50,000 soldiers in Afghanistan in over 10 years. A senior NATO military official said the alliance estimated, that's what they call it, the Russo China alliance, right? And it's just two of them. Um, a senior NATO military official said the alliance estimates was based on information from the Ukrainian officials, what Russia has released, intentionally or not, and intelligence gathered from open sources. Officials spoke on condition of anonymity under ground rules set by NATO. Yeah, keep your mouth shut. But only the people only ever talk on condition of anonymity. So then you got to wonder, how can I trust what you're saying if everybody is talking but nobody wants to be identified? How can I source your information? And you might go, well, I work for the government. Here's my credentials, CIA, whatever. That doesn't mean you're not using me and lying. What up, Tony D? Good to see you. Good to see you. What's that word? Spell. Wait, spell it. What I mean? What word are we talking about, bro? Uh, I spelled it. Yeah. Uh, I just realized, like, how can you ask me what word if you don't know what word I'm talking about? Um, yeah, YouTube is shutting people down who make videos about Ukraine. Yeah, they're shutting videos down about Ukraine. They're shutting videos down about COVID, which is on the rise again. That thing, like that thing that goes up and down, that the little tick heartbeat of it. Every time it drops a little bit, they get really happy and open shit up, and then it goes down. But if you look at the long stretch when this thing started, the thing is gone up. Yeah, it goes down, but it's still going up. It's like the stock market. The stock market drops, but it's still fucking. It's at 15,000 when it started at zero. Oh look, in the early days the stock market is at 4. Wow, I made a mint. Now it's at what is it, 50,000? It's still, but that COVID thing is and we're doing that. And I'm sitting here going, oh my god, I can't take another 2 years of this. I said when I started podcasting, when my first conversation about this, pandemic lasts 3 years generally, 3 to 5 years, and they come back 2 to 3 times. So I don't even know what the fuck. I think when we get over this, hopefully sooner rather than later. Yeah, Tony D, right? Exactly. It's 5 years. So when we get over this, we may have 7 or 8 years before it pops up again, and do it all over again, and then we may get 10 before it pops up and then disappears. That's what happened with the Black Plague, right? Because essentially what happens is, I hate to say it, all the people who are gonna get sick from it. If it's that virulent, right? Nothing is so bad that we run across that can wipe out everybody because there's still people here. There's been shit here on the planet wiping people out. And my whole thing is all those old ice cores that they dig up that's 2,000 years old and no one's seen, that's what's going to kill us. One of those things is going to melt and release some microbe that no one has an immunity to. And the last time it was out in the world was 200,000 years ago. And that Deltacron too. The Deltacron, that sounds sort of like a drink. But yeah, Omicron, Delta, bird flu, like it's a hodgepodge of it, right? Uh, wow. They're telling people 1,500 people died. They're crazy. I was watching videos of this shit today, just going, I feel bad for these guys. I mean, again, no military service, but you're watching people. The one that I watched that I sort of chuckled at, then I was like, that's fucking brutal. Was the one where they had the little homemade drone with a bomb on it, and the Russian guy is walking by himself, I guess, and they dropped it, and just a 1 in a million shot landed right on his head, and you saw half his head go this way, and the other into the bushes, and the other half shoot straight up like 10 feet, and he just fell straight forward. Never took his hands out of his pocket. I was like, this war is fucking comical. And then the next scene, you see that helicopter get full hit in the face with a missile, and you're like, oh, this shit is brutal, right? You see the tank come around the corner and blow up that little sedan with the old couple in it. Lose the fucking damn. They're both like, I think they said they were 60. And I'm like, what is going on here? So while all this war zone shit is happening, you got these people. Let's see if we can get a good shot of them. You got these people going about their day. It's very Germany, World War II, right? Like, I mean, the thing that I noticed about the American military in like Fallujah in the Middle East, right? No, it didn't seem this leisurely. People like right every time you think you saw like while the American men walk like tanks or like uh phalanxes of guys walking down the street, you see people sitting having their tea, watching them walk by, right? But you don't see one lone tank driving through a city by itself with no support, nobody, right? Getting yelled at by the citizenry, and every now and then just like getting taken clean off the table by like a javelin. Outrageous. Outrageous, outrageous. All right. It doesn't tell us what happened to this guy, but something tells me it's battlefield. You just injured your commanding officer. Something tells me and it's Russia. Something tells me they likely pull a bullet in his ear. But again, like I said, this could completely be just a fucking accident, right? And the West is getting propaganda off it by saying morale is low, and I think morale is low, but and they killed him intentionally. Uh, but if you're gonna tell us that, tell us what happened to the driver, for God's sakes. These stories are crazy. On the new law passed Wednesday, troops in Ukraine will get the same benefits as veterans of previous wars, including tax breaks, discounts on utilities, preferential access to medical treatment. Preferential? How about? All right. If you're gonna keep putting this line in between citizens and servicemen, we're supposed to have a citizen service kind of deal. Just make everybody serve, right? Uh, because a lot of these people are ridiculous. A lot of these people who ran up in January 6th, just ridiculous. One guy fled the country, went to the Ukraine. What? You gave up your citizenship to the country? You should have just did your 2 years. It probably would have been 6 months of house arrest, and you still get to be an American. But welcome to your new. I don't understand people. I don't understand people. The U.S. government has largely declined to provide public estimates of Russia or Ukrainian casualties, saying available information is of questionable reliability. That's fair. Uh, it has arrested thousands of anti-war protesters and cracked down on the media. Oh, I skipped a sentence. With casualties mounting and quick victory no longer in sight, Russia's having to work to suppress dissent and shore up morale. It has arrested thousands of anti-war protesters and cracked down on the media. All right, so the video of that woman, MySpace, can't believe I looked that up. Woman parted off for protesting in Russia. Let's see it. I mean, they were on her with the quickness, and then the girl behind her didn't say anything. They put a camera on her, and she was like, "I don't want to say anything," and then they grabbed her. Outrageous. Out freaking rageous. What is going on here? All right, so let's set this up. Um, good lord. So we're gonna set this up. Camera crew walks over to her. Hey, can we ask you a question? She's protesting, right? Right behind the camera crew is the state police. She's bold as fuck, man. They ask her a question. She goes, well, she says like three things, and she peels something out. So watch this. Can they arrest me for it? Right? And then she shows that, and bam! Oh wow! Gone. Carted off. Look at all the cops. Look at how many of them there are. Look at how many of them there are. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You saw that, right? Meanwhile, another lady immediately read her. Do you guys film only accurate? We film everyone. What about those who have different opinions? Them as well? Right? Of course we film everyone. She's asking them question, right? And then they ask her and she goes, "Oh, I don't want to say." And then they grab her. Who agreed to mid operation? She goes, "Well, we show all opinions. I want to say my opinion. Go ahead. I'm actually okay with that." Bam. She doesn't even get to say a fucking thing. She asked them three questions and they cart her off. Freedom. Freedom. So I tell people all the time, stop encouraging people to do American shit in foreign countries. You got that little girl in Afghanistan shot in the face. I want to go to school. I'm going to You're not here. And I would like to remind you, the reason you can get away with a lot of this is because a lot of black people died here. So a lot of people can have these rights, right? Quite frankly, that's what happened. Oh my God. The idea, why is this turned down? The idea that um, you can't, you can gather now in numbers that you feel good in gathering and talk to each other is because at one point they were like, "Why you black people? There's three of y'all. Break this up." He's my brother, my dad, and we're going to church. Nah, you're too many. Beat him up, lock him up. You don't do that anymore. Other countries they do. They some countries are like America 100 years ago, and some countries are just an antiquated shit show that shouldn't be countries. Like Afghanistan is one of these places that shouldn't be a country, but people live there. Uh, who gets down like? Look, that region wants it to be the 600s when Muhammad came through and started the religion. That religion is 600 years old, right? So, yeah. So, how old is Islam? Uh, how old is Islam? Although its roots go back further, don't say that. You're supposed to be an educated, scholarly person. Give me fucking factuals. Although its roots go back further, scholars typically date the creation of Islam to the 7th century, making it the youngest of the major world religions. Islam started in Mecca in the modern day Saudi Arabia during the time of the Prophet Muhammad's life. All right, so that was the 7th century was 600 somewhat, right? Right? Uh, the year 600 or whatever. Um, yeah, they want to go back to there while having fucking cell phones and modern cars. You don't invent shit because you're ridiculous people. All right? Half your society can't drive or work. What is that? Anyway, let's close this. Uh, I think it's safe to say that this guy is done. NATO refuses to tell us how many people. NATO, when Russia leads invasion for biggest war, but when they mark 4 full weeks, okay. With its ground forces repeatedly slowed and stopped by hit and runs, Ukrainian units armed with Western supply weapons, Putin's troops are bombarding targets from afar, falling back on attacks they use in reducing cities to ruin in Syria and Chechnya. Yeah, they were. Yeah, and here's the thing: war crimes. What happened to them? Nothing. You met with them at the G8. Fucking ridiculousness. Um, but you're gonna take 100,000 Ukrainians in? Why? Why? Joe Biden is an idiot. Um, you just took 200,000 Afghanis in. Wow. Why does this thing keep turning down? What is going on here? Why is my mic constant? I've got my eye on you. Why is my mic constantly turning down? Uh, does it turn down when I yell loudly? Don't be a bad purchase, microphone. All right. Ukrainian also claimed to have killed 6 Russian generals. Russia acknowledges just one dead general. The figure from NATO represents the alliance's first public statements. America doesn't do it. Da, 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 da. This should be the last one. Also, under a law passed Wednesday, troops in Ukraine will get the same benefits, all right? An apparent reflection of growing division in Russia's top echelon, top official Anatoly Chybis has resigned. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told the Interfax news agency. Chybis, the architect of Russia's post-Soviet privatization campaign, he's the one who got them banks and YouTube and not YouTube, Chanel and McDonald's and Burger, all these Western companies come to Russia. Yeah, no, you know. So he was the architect of that. Guy super stupid rich. Um, President would not say if Chavez has left the country. Of course, he left the country with his billions. Western officials say Putin forces are facing serious shortages of food, fuel, and cold weather gear, with soldiers suffering frostbite, while Ukraine defenders have been going more on the offensive, attacking them where they are, preparing to reclaim lost territory. Still, Russia's far stronger, bigger military has many Western military experts warning against overconfidence in the Ukraine's long-term odds. That's what I've been saying since this thing started. I said when they get fucking serious, they're coming to beat the fuck out of you. You know what's going on here? It's me and Mike Tyson, and I'll punch him in the head, punch him in the yeah, Mike. But Mike Tyson really hasn't hit me yet. And y'all are like, ooh, like, oh, I think Mike Tyson got a little blood on his nose. Oh, you kicking his ass, True. You beat the fuck out of Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson just gonna go, all right, I'm tired of this now. And then people are gonna go, what happened to his head? Why is it caved in like that? And for the rest of my days, I'll have to be fed porridge through a straw. Oh my God. Yeah, so when they come, they're gonna, and this is the thing. Now you have to wonder: is it worth taking in the first place? Will I take it and the West be assholes to me for 3 or 4 years, 5 years maybe? We can weather that, and then it's back to normal, and then we have the Ukraine and Chechnya, and we're back to our post-Soviet glory. Well, or will I take this thing and I can't take this thing? Will I be iced out forever? Completely out of Europe, can't go there, can't fly there, can't trade there. Completely out of America, can't go there, can't fly there, can't trade there. The only place I can go is China. I can't. Yeah. How am I going to fund this country? Everything since the dawn of man has been about not just war, not just exploration, but trade. The people over there make wine. Oh, so also make the best bow and arrow tips when you're not warring, right? So now no one's gonna trade with you, and it's not the Cold War, and all your people got really comfortable with all this American swag. They like their McDonald's and their Apple iPhones, the Chanel perfumes, their foreign cars from America, SUVs, and all this bullshit. One guy ended that. We all have to do what Vladimir says, and he's been there 20 years. You tried to vote him out twice, and he wouldn't leave. How good is the morale there? Oh, here come the cops. They're coming to get me because I'm giving you too much truth. Uh, let's see. All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. Oh my God, we've been streaming for almost 2 hours. We're gonna wrap this one up in 5 minutes. Um, True. Last night Siri gave you the time for Scotland, Connecticut. You need to ask for city times. Oh, is that what happened? That's amazing. What time is it in? Hold it. What is a city in Scotland? All right. Edinburgh. Not Edinburgh. Edinburgh. What time is it in Edinburgh?
In Edinburgh, Scotland, it's 12:49 a.m.
Okay, so that 12:49. All right, so they are exactly 3 hours ahead of us. It's 9. So okay, we're gonna end this thing in 10 minutes. 10:30. Yeah, good job, man. What time is it in Scotland?
It's 8:49 p.m. in Scotland.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, William. It should at least say it says plus no hours. It should at least tell you which Scotland if it's like if it's Marvin. Come on, there's a couple of Memphises, right? There's one in Greece. I want to say there's one in Russia and there's one here. Memphis. There's a couple of well, New York and York are not the same thing. Um, there's a couple of St. Petersburg. There's one in Florida and there's one in Russia. Are we gonna do this? I'm down a rabbit hole and see how many of these things I can get. I can pull off the top of my head. Uh, there's a few of them I know. There's one in Seattle called. There's an Albany in upstate New York, and there's also an Albany. I want to say Greece again. All right. Still Russia far stronger, bigger military. The Kremlin practice in the past have been to grind down resistance with strikes that flatten cities, killing countless civilians and sending millions fleeing. Yeah, see, this is why nobody wants to fuck the Russians. You kill countless civilians, and people, we were talking to you like everything was fine. Let you into G8. You did. I got issues with China too. Doing trade with China, we're gonna end up with war in China, and you gave them money to buy bullets. How? What? What? Yeah. Are they our enemies or not? Just if they stand diametrically opposed to what we're doing, why are we doing commerce with them? You greedy fucksticks. Not you, like the people in Congress. Why? Oi, oi, Gavalt, oi. So Russia's far stronger because the Kremlin grinding down places. Talks to end the fighting have continued by video. Zelensky said negotiating with Russians are going step by step, but they are going forward. With no peace, those not yet uh, with no peace, those not yet fighting prepare to do so. Everything a bestseller these days. Everything's a bestseller these days, said Zakhar Sluzhalo. Sluzhali, Sluzhhallyy, who owns a gun shop in the western city of Lviv. What did we say? What did I say? Lviv? Lviv? All right. Pronunciation. We looked up that yesterday and it was long and drawn out. Look at these guys just sitting there. Their joint chiefs of staff are 3 guys. Our joint chiefs of staff are 7. All right, did it play it?
Thanks for your support. And now you know, like grain, this city of you, but often confused, including the cup in this one. This, we are looking at how to pronounce the name of the city located in Ukraine, as well as how to say more interesting, but often confusing.
Why don't you just fucking tell us how to pronounce it?
For your support, more we do.
See, he never even mentions it. This is the shit I'm talking about. This is so off. Live is pronounced live. You know what? You get a fucking dislike. Excuse my language. I am spinning. All right. True last night's figure. We checked that. All right. We're good. We're up to it with the chat. All right. Can't believe it. I'm actually on point with the chat. Not me. Even as so these two are 3 stars. He's a 1 star. He's a 3 star. Let's see. We got Sergei Rudovsky, a senior representative of General Staff, Defense Minister, spokesman, Igor Kenosheskov, And Mikhail Mizis head of the Russian National Defense Council, hold a briefing. That's why he's 1 star, because he's whoever is supposed to be there. He's their press guy. He's the press guy for defense. The defense minister is the defense minister spokesman. So you have senior representative of the defense ministry. You have the Russian National Defense and Control Center. Yeah, this don't make any sense. These people are idiots. All right, you guys are all out. I would like to thank you for your time and your energy. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up. We are about on point. We got 5 minutes. So the way I work, by the time I stop saying my goodbyes, it'll be 5 minutes. So let's close this. Let's not hit the giant red button. Hit that. Hit this. Do that. Dismiss this. And we're back. And my mic turned down again. What is going on with this mic? All right. I don't even know what to do. That's headphones. This is microphone, and it should stay on 3, but then it bounces up to 5, and then it goes down to 1. Whew. All right. Let's do a little standing up for the last 5 minutes of this. What I really want to do is put something on this white ceiling, so it's not so bad. All right. I guess so much for standing up. All right. I want to thank everyone for coming through. It's Friday, guys. Do something with it. Don't just watch TV and hate on the neighbors. Go someplace. Do something. This week, I told you this, was the first time I actually went out to dinner in like a while and sat at a restaurant. I should do more of that. I'm beginning to realize I sort of let the pandemic really shift my whole flow. I mean, I know there's something wrong with it. I mean, I'm trying to avoid it, but it is. I mean, this pandemic has taken a toll on me. But I'm coming back. Art, see smart, see me easy. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I guess we're not going to make the last 3 minutes because I'm officially out of stuff to say. Officially. I want to thank you all for coming through. Please, I cannot believe there's a Scotland in Connecticut. That's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. I want to thank you all for coming through. Please like and subscribe. I'm here like 5 days a week, 6 days a week. Generally. And we talk about politics. We talk about current events. We talk about police, like law enforcement. Not so much all municipality, like sanitation and when they're interesting, we talk about them, and we talk about I guess current affairs is what I just said. All right, so remember, do something with your days, man. You get a limited number of them, and people are losing them by the hour in the Ukraine. Yeah. So all right, we'll see you in the next one. The next one is tomorrow. Oh, here's an update. I keep being invited now that it's getting warmer to do stuff on Fridays and Saturdays, and I missed the show. The show's late, so I'm thinking of. I was thinking of just dropping more, and you might have to catch them when you catch them. But especially on Friday, I mean Friday and Saturdays might get interesting this summer because I'm trying to start some stuff, and you have to meet people when they meet people, and you know, it is what it is, man. So I don't know. I got to figure it out. Another thing I have to figure out. All right, that's it for us. We'll be back tomorrow, like I just said. It's 8:58. Um, this one says 8:59. I wonder what that one will say if I cut, not the Mac. If I cut it on, what that would say. It's Friday. I don't know if anything's going on, but go out there and find some interest. We'll see you next week. Next week. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be here all week. We took no days off. We're supposed to take next week off, right? I have a wedding next week. Where's my calendar? We won't take the whole week off. I might take. Oh my God, the wedding is Saturday, so I won't be here next week Saturday. And you know what? I'm not gonna be here next week Friday either. I'm gonna take next week Friday, next week Saturday off. I'll be back Sunday, which is Monday. I'm sorry, I'll be back Sunday, which is Monday. What? I'll be back Sunday, which is the first stream day versus a Monday. And I guess I'll do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'll take the rest of the week off. So yeah, I'm gonna take 3 weeks off next week: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and be back Sunday. So have faith and hold out hope, and I will see you on the Sunday, which is the third, which is the Sunday after this following Sunday. Okay, great. So I'm gonna stream today. I might stream one, two, three, four. I got five. Okay, we're gonna stream for the next 5 days, and then we're gonna be off for like the 4 days after that. All right, so guys, take care of yourself. Seriously, watch yourself. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't fall for the games and the goonery and the stupid buffoonery. And know you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Uh, I'll see you.